Good evening. You are listening to Right on Campus, the UW-Eau Claire College Republican podcast.
Good evening. Welcome back to Right on Campus, the UW-EC College Republicans podcast. I'm Tatiana.
And I'm Grace.
And we are tonight's hosts of Right on Campus. We've got a little bit of a different setup tonight, with Grace, our political coordinator, stepping in to fill our role of co-host. So welcome back to Season 2, Right on Campus. And in tonight's episode, we will be discussing the current events surrounding the recent government shutdown, along with the controversy of the SNAP program. As always, just a couple of announcements. We meet Mondays in Centennial 1704 from 7 to 8 p.m., and we'd love to see you all there. All right, Grace, let's go ahead and kick it off with the government shutdown.
All right. So, as we all know, the government was just shut down for a record of 43 days. It officially ended Wednesday night. That was November 12th, Wednesday night. And on Monday night, the Senate finally passed the bill to go to the House, and then the House passed it to Trump on Wednesday, and Trump signed it, which officially reopened the government. So for this, why it was closed, there are only 53 Republicans sitting in the Senate, and you have to have 60 votes to reopen the government. So even though people are saying, oh, the Republicans have majority, it's you still need that 7 other votes to be able to pass the bill. So,
right, and there were 2 Republicans who voted no.
Yeah, right. So it's you have some of the outliers that aren't with the rest of the crew, I guess. But yeah, and then so you have to have 60 votes to reopen the government, and a lot of Democrats are blaming it on the Republicans because we hold the majority. So wanted to put the kibosh on that one.
Right. No, and it's so crazy to me that people said that, because the Republicans had a bill, they were ready to go. It was the Democrats who were saying no.
Yeah.
Republicans were we'll sign it today.
Mm-hmm.
And Democrats were no.
And the crazy thing is that they've signed this bill through the Senate right away 13 times. Yeah. This is the one time that they've had a problem with it.
Well, and it's not anything crazy. They're just extending the deadline.
Yeah.
Government shutdowns have always just been so stupid to me. Come on, guys.
I'm not a fan of government shutdowns, especially because our military doesn't get paid.
Right.
And a lot of our federal workers don't get paid. And I'm these people are working. They deserve to get a paycheck.
Well, not to mention, we saw things air traffic controllers had to work without pay.
Mm-hmm.
They had to lay off people. They had to lower the amount of flights.
Yeah.
And, you actually do get into some dangerous territory when people in the government aren't working.
Yeah. Yeah. But, so why the government shut down? The Democrats shut down the government to get funding for healthcare for illegal immigrants. So they wanted to fund the pretty much Medicare.
Yeah, Obamacare.
Obamacare for people who didn't qualify for it or aren't legal citizens of the United States of America. So what happened was the Trump administration cut funding of Medicaid for illegal immigrants, able-bodied people, and those who no longer qualified for Medicaid and who received Medicaid under the Biden administration.
Right, and this was all done in the big, beautiful bill.
Yep. All in the big, beautiful bill. But even some Democrats, they were even saying we're using this shutdown as leverage, especially through recent elections.
Right, and we saw that.
Yeah, it's New York.
Yeah.
Cough, cough.
Mm-hmm.
So they were saying that they were using it as leverage, but they also wanted to send millions of dollars to foreign countries for things like LGBTQ stuff or environmental stuff, and it's like, I don't even really know what to say to that, because I feel like we should be putting Americans first, not
Right.
other countries. Like,
Well,
it's not even...
Exactly, and that's what the country mandated
Yeah.
in the election last year. That is what we wanted. That was Trump's slogan, in his campaign. And it's always just interesting to me to see, sometimes I think there's a disconnect between what the voters want, and you see that with the president directly.
Yeah.
But you don't see that match with with Congress.
Yeah. Yeah. But, so essentially, the Democrats were arguing that they needed to extend the COVID era, which the COVID era is over.
I know. How long is COVID going to last for?
The COVID era subsides that expire at the end of 2025. So it was essentially Obamacare, and claiming that millions of Americans will lose their health insurance. But fact check here, majority will still be on the Obamacare or Medicaid for around $50 a month. And then most that won't be keeping their insurance rates are ones that have retired before the age of 65. And those who are making 400% above the poverty line.
Why are those people on Medicaid to begin with?
Exactly. That's what we're saying here. It's an abuse of the system.
Well, and we should clarify, we're talking about this is taxpayer funded.
Right.
Like, where this isn't just, oh, well, they don't get health insurance. No, we're saying we're not paying for your health insurance if you make 400% above the poverty line.
Yeah. I think
that's crazy.
Be like, okay, so I'm working hard to make my money, and then I have to pay all these extra taxes because you're too lazy to go get a job.
What's the incentive for me to work?
Right. Like, what? I'm just going to go get on Medicaid then, actually.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm going to drop out of school. I'm just not do anything with the rest of my life.
Yep, going to drop out, not do nothing. But, so they wanted to extend, or like, if they were to extend the COVID era, it would cost Americans over $450 billion over the next decade. So that was another thing. I'm like, heck no, I'm not doing that. No. Heck no. But, so what the Trump administration is doing / did over the government shutdown, so Trump actually redirected some of the funding that we had moving around while it was shut down. So that our military could get a paycheck on October 15th, which is a big win for me, because I have a lot of people I know and a lot of like family that are on the military, and I'm like, they solely depend on those paychecks,
right? Yeah,
in order to get their food and stuff like that. So I was very pleased with this, but he also redirected revenue from tariffs that we've implemented.
It's a good thing we implemented those,
right? Yeah. To women's, infant, and children's food programs. So everybody's saying like, oh, he's taking away the food from everybody. He was actually trying his absolute best to try and get food for at least like children and women and other families.
Right.
So,
and stay tuned, because there's more to come on, some of that stuff related to the SNAP program.
Yep. But I think a major thing that allowed for this government shutdown to end was the effect on the air traffic. It was just becoming too much. And like on Saturday, November 8th, there were 81 staffing triggers that were reported across the United States. And then on Wednesday, there were only 4 that were reported. Wow. So there was a major increase after the Senate passed the bill. They are still at a 6% reduction freeze that officially like set in stone on Wednesday. But if the shutdown had continued, it would have expected to go up to 10% by Friday. And like reduction is like flights being canceled and stuff like that. And then there were over 25,000 delays on Monday, with almost 3,000 cancellations for flights. So a lot of people were stranded, stuck. And then
that's
like
a mess.
Yeah, especially with the holiday coming up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, trying to navigate like a flight after like you miss a connection, or like your flight's delayed or whatever. It's such a mess. Oh yeah, I know. But this is like kind of, from my understanding, this is what has majorly influenced those 8 Democrats to
vote to reopen the government.
Do you think, though, do you think that's what really motivated them, or do you think winning the election motivated them?
I think it was probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And then also, like, I mean, I don't even know. A lot of people were getting angry. Like, they were like, give us our SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
But then it's like they got mad when the Democrats voted, and they're like, they're pathetic. They can't stand their ground. And I'm like, you guys need to pick a side. You literally just, I'm not even kidding. You literally just proved our point that you guys were the ones that kept the government shut down. Like, it was not the Republicans that did that.
Right.
But, so they're saying for air traffic, it's going to take days, possibly weeks for the flights to get back to normal. So it's probably still going to be affected during Thanksgiving or holiday travel.
Oh, that sucks. I'm glad I don't travel much for that.
No, same. But after the Senate vote to reopen the government, like I was saying a little bit earlier, Democrats were expressing the disappointment of the Senate Democrats that voted to reopen the government.
Yeah, I've seen that on social media, too.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are saying, like, I can't believe you couldn't stand your ground, all this stuff. And it's like, we needed to reopen the government. Too many people were getting affected by this. Mm-hmm. And you guys are complaining about the SNAP benefits and this
Right, you
and
can't
that.
have it both ways.
Right. It's like, you need to either have the government open and have things moving the way they should be, or you need to shut your yap. Like, it's just getting to be ridiculous sometimes. But now we have the government's going to be officially open through January 2026.
Do we think it'll close down again?
I hope not. I really hope not, because that will just be a mess again.
Yeah. I know the Senate said they're willing to look at the Affordable Care Act again, you know, and that was part of the reason Democrats finally, moved over. They're like, fine, we'll revisit it, in December or January. And I believe the Senate said that, but the House didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see if that gets brought up again and what that looks like.
Yeah, I'll be definitely interested and definitely be monitoring it for sure. Because we'll be winter break, woohoo!
Yeah.
So I'll definitely be it'll definitely be on my radar when we're over break. But I just want to openly thank the 8 Democratic senators that voted to pass the bill so that we could get our 60-40 vote. So we have Senator Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire. Apologize if I butchered that. Butchered that pronunciation. Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois. Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia. Senator Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire. Senator Agnes King of Maine. Senator Jackie Rosen of Nevada. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada. Again, if I butcher that, I apologize. And Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania. So thank you to all those senators that are putting America first instead of deciding to keep our government shut down.
Right, absolutely, yeah. So how do you feel about the way Republicans handled this?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
I definitely think from the bits that I saw, especially from J.D. Vance and his, what's the word I'm looking for, addresses to the nation, saying we are trying our best to get funding for these programs that need to be funded and to pay our military. And then they also were very upfront and straight, being like, yes, we have majority, but it's the Democrats that are keeping it shut down. We need more than the 53 votes to reopen the government. So I think we handled it fairly well. I think it's a little frustrating that it took so long.
Yeah.
But then again, there was the couple of times where the 2 Republicans voted to keep it closed. So that was also frustrating. I'm like, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
What's going on? But I think overall, I mean, it was just a mess all around. So we did the best we could with the crap we were given. So
Yeah, no, and I think that's fair. I think one thing I really value about this whole thing is we often see Republicans cave on things to Democrats in these types of situations. And it was really refreshing to see that Republicans held the line.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, we're not budging. We're not budging. And they let things like SNAP go. They're like, yep, this is happening.
Feel like it's your fault. It sucks to suck.
Right. Like they let things get uncomfortable, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a good transition into kind of some of that SNAP stuff.
Yes.
Because that striked up some controversy.
Oh, I am well aware.
I know there was a lot of talk, on campus about it. A lot of people were very vocal and, posting things all over, whether it be social media, posters, sidewalks, all that stuff. We saw a lot of it. But so SNAP is a program designed to help feed Americans who are struggling financially to support themselves as far as food and everything. And the way it works is through an EBT card. And you get this like credit card from the government and they're like, go buy your groceries, and you have your limit from the government essentially.
Yeah.
And, you go buy your groceries or whatever. And we'll get into the amount that are on those cards and everything in a bit. But what happened with the shutdown was the Department of Agriculture ran out of funds for SNAP because they were shut down and they couldn't reallocate, and all that type of stuff. And so they're like, okay, people are not going to get their cards loaded up this month. Just not going to happen with the government shutdown. And so this caused a lot of people to bring up not just, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? But also bring up the question of why is SNAP here? What is it doing? Is it effective? And just to give an idea of some of the scope of the SNAP program, currently there's 42 million Americans that receive SNAP. That's 1 in 8 Americans.
That is actually
And if SNAP is working correctly, that means 1 in 8 Americans are going hungry.
Yeah. That doesn't seem correct at all.
And do you really think that if the government stopped funding these people for a month, do you think people would literally starve?
No.
Why?
Because these people are just being like I don't even know really how to explain it because I know a lot of people just rely on the government because they can and they want to. They don't want to go out and get a job so that they can afford things for themselves. So it's like if they stopped getting those government funds, they would go out, find a job, and start working for what they need.
Well, and here's the other thing that I always think about is we live in a country, especially with the technology we have now, anyone can sell things on Facebook Marketplace or, sell something on Etsy. Like, it doesn't take much. It's work. But that's why you get paid.
Right.
Because you're doing work. So, I think that's a great point. 54% of immigrant households participate in at least one major welfare program, which seemed high. I don't know how that is influenced by illegal immigrants versus legal, but I'm sure there is a large number of illegals on that, just, looking at things like the Big Beautiful Bill and some of the restraints they put in. Currently, the average person receives about $200 a month on their EBT card. Yeah. And the annual cost in 2024 alone was $100 billion to fund this program.
Gosh.
Yeah. And
where's my $100 billion?
Right. Well, and looking back at how this has changed, in 2019, the monthly food stamp spending was about $4.5 billion for the whole country.
Jeez Louise.
And then in 2022, so kind of the middle of Biden's term? Yeah.
Yeah.
My years are so mixed up now. I feel so old.
I know. I still feel like it's 2020.
I know.
I'm like, oh, okay, gotta go to middle school,
No, literally. Take me back to 2016.
No, for real.
Oh, such a good year. But so in 2019, average monthly spending was 4.5. Jump up to 2022, it was all the way up to $11 billion.
This is what the Biden administration did, everybody. Listen,
Yeah.
listen close up. They're literally taking money out of your pocket that you
Right.
earned for people who are lazy.
No, exactly. It's insane. And so, yeah. And with that, just something that kind of got me thinking was all this money that we're spending on this program, what would happen to grocery store prices if the government wasn't providing a credit card to go shop at the grocery store?
Oh, I mean, it would definitely take quite a long time, but
Yeah.
grocery prices would go down.
Right, right. I mean, look at tuition.
Right.
Why
I don't
why
wanna
is
look at
tuition no, right, for real. This one hits a little close to home. But why is tuition so expensive? Because the government will just give you money.
Mm-hmm.
And so colleges know, oh yeah, we can charge more. We can charge more. We can charge more.
And it's not fair
No.
to people like me whose parents make enough money that I don't qualify for anything from
Same.
FAFSA.
Yep.
And I pay for my own college out of my own bank account and
Yep.
the money I make. And I don't get any aid because of how financially stable my parents are.
Right, even though they're not paying for your college.
Correct. And it's like, I don't understand how, like, why? That's another
Yeah,
whole, that's a whole nother
Yeah,
topic.
Like I
but-
said, hits a little close to home. But yeah, so, and then just looking further at who's actually on these programs, you know, the average food stamp user is overweight.
Oh, what do you know?
Yeah. And there's pretty big issue with illegal aliens being on food stamps. And the governor of Maine, Janet Mills, who I feel like now that I'm saying this, we had a podcast episode last year where she did something else or said something else totally crazy.
I feel like, yeah, I remember that name from something.
But she released this statement that said Maine is one of the 5 states that operates a SNAP program with state funding to assist non-citizens.
Bruh.
The Mills administration warned the legislature in spring 2023 that the program was rapidly growing. Between 2021 and summer 2024, monthly participation increased from approximately 1,000 beneficiaries to 5,000 beneficiaries.
That is insane.
So we know right there, non-citizens. That's a problem. You don't get our benefits.
No, that's
Those are for the hardworking Americans.
right. Like, that is the thing that makes me so, like, I wouldn't say mad or more upset, I guess.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. Not mad, just disappointed. I'm a little mad, though.
Yeah. No, it's okay to be mad. Like,
It's like we're giving all this money to people who come into our country illegally, so they're by law or definition of a law criminals.
Right.
They're criminals.
yeah.
Like, I'm like, honestly, this is gonna sound kind of bad, but like, I don't really care what happened. Like, why you had to come to
Right.
America. Like, there's right ways to do it, and I get that it's a lengthy, long process, but there's right ways and wrong ways. And if I am taking my money as an American citizen that I earned and worked hard for and giving it to people who just decided to skip the line and jump over the border and be like, okay, now I'm a citizen now.
Right.
Like, no,
Yeah,
I don't.
no.
I don't.
And I think you can balance, you said, oh, maybe this isn't, a great thing to say, but you can still have compassion for those people, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not saying, oh, if you see somebody who needs food, you better check if they're illegal before you give them your sandwich. No.
No,
We're
like-
just saying we shouldn't be forced to fund a program that
Correct.
feeds people who are here illegally, some of which are violent, members of violent gangs. It's not fair to the American workers.
Yeah.
If an individual person wants to do that with their money, it's their money.
Right.
They have the right to do that and act, it's a good thing to do. I don't have a problem with feeding people who need to be fed. I'm just not going to be forced to do it. It's not a gift then.
Yeah. I
So.
100% agree.
Yeah. And another thing I've seen circulating around the internet is some receipts so a lot of receipts will show the EBT card balance. And there's some receipts that are circulating the internet from known illegal aliens that, they've been able to figure out, they belonged to someone who was here illegally, and the balance was like $10,000 on the card.
What?
Or thousands of dollars on their EBT card.
And they only get, like, what, close to $200 a month?
That's the average.
Average?
So, and I don't know entirely how that's all allocated. I'm not, like, super educated on all that side of it, but...
How are they getting so much more money?
Right.
Than people who are Americans that actually need the help? Because they literally can't get a job. They literally don't have a house.
Yeah.
That...
According to the Economic Policy Innovation Center, in 2022 alone, 1.4 million illegals were provided benefits through the food stamp program.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's such a huge issue. And there's also just, it seems like a lot of immigrants in general seem to be on food stamps.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't mind helping people out, but it bothers me that we are being forced to fund people who aren't American and haven't contributed to the American culture and becoming part of our country. Yeah. You don't just come here and automatically get all the benefits of America. You have to work for it. And that's what makes America America, is the hard work that goes into the country.
Like, you don't see... This is going to go out on a whim here. But you don't see a ton of Republicans or even some, like, moderate Democrats that are going around and just, like, being like, oh, I deserve this. This is mine now. Like, and you're going to pay for it. No, we all work for what we need and want. Like, I have worked since I was 14 years old. Yeah. That's how I pay for my gas. That's how I pay my tuition. That's how, like, that's just how it works, people. Sorry.
Right. No.
Like, you need to work for what you want.
You don't go into a store and say, I deserve this. Give it to me for free. I'm a college student. You have to give it. No,
that's not how that works.
That'd be ridiculous.
Right.
You'd look like a lunatic.
You'd get arrested for robbery.
But there's people on the internet saying this. And this brings me to kind of my next point, is the crazy TikToks and Instagram reels that I've seen circulating from people, like, freaking out because they're losing their SNAP benefit. You take away someone's benefits, you are taking away their food. Essentially, if you don't pay someone's grocery bill, you are starving them.
That cannot be further from the truth.
No, right.
Like, I'm sorry, but if you're that desperate if you are desperate enough and you are truly starving, you will find a way to get food.
Especially in this country.
Yeah.
Like especially just go to a church.
Right.
Almost any church, and yes, there are going to be some exceptions, but almost any church at the very least will direct you somewhere where you can get food.
Right.
They'll buy you a meal. There'll be somebody in the church who's willing to buy you a meal.
Like, there are so many, like, shelters that give out meals every day.
Right.
And there's also, like, places where, this, like, if you, like, can't find anywhere or you can't go somewhere, like, there are still kind people out there. Like, I know I've bought food for people who were on the streets before.
Yeah.
Like, I was literally at McDonald's one time, and there was a family outside, and they looked homeless to me because they were just, like, they had a bunch of stuff with them.
Right.
And I felt really bad because it was, like, a mother and, like, these two little kids. So I went in, and I got, like, 2 Happy Meals and then another, like, burger.
Right.
And some fries for Mom. And I gave it to them, and I was like, here, like, I hope this makes your day, and I hope you guys, like, I know it's not the most nutritious, but it's something in your belly.
Right.
And they were so thankful and grateful, and I, like, there's still people out there that care, and, like, we're not all evil human beings.
No, right. We're not saying that these people should be left to starve, or, we're saying we don't want to be forced to do it,
Yeah.
And also it brings us back to the question of, if food stamps were abolished, if the SNAP program was abolished, how many people would actually starve? And I genuinely don't. I'm sure there's some, there's some people who look at places like Skid Row where it's really poor, but, I don't think majority of Americans, I don't think 43 million.
No, it'd probably be like 1%, if that.
Yeah, right. So, Yeah, so we've got these videos of people freaking out, and they're very entitled. And in the videos, they expose their own logic. There was one where somebody was like, how am I supposed to buy my weed? Like, I have to dip into my weed money to now buy food. This is insane. You're taking away my rights. And there was somebody else who was talking about how she couldn't have a birthday party because of it. And how am I supposed to celebrate my birthday? And it's just like, well, it's like...
Celebrate your birthday by getting a job.
No, literally, like, it's, and like, if that's what you're thinking about, I'm sorry, but you don't need the government to be paying for your food.
Right.
If you're stressed about how am I going to afford weed, you have enough money to afford food. So
if you're more worried about the high than getting, like, food into your stomach,
you're fine.
There's a different underlying issue.
Yeah,
there.
no, absolutely. One of the things that, one of the people that Democrats, started looking at was this lady. Her name was Denise. She was from the Department of Defense, and she was an employee that, wasn't getting paid and was struggling to get food because of the shutdown. And it was this big sob story about her, like, how sad it is, like, look, like, she can't get food, she's gonna starve, all these things. Well, some people did some digging. The lowest salary she ever made was $60,000.
Bro, that's like 90%, or not 90, probably close to like 60% of frontline workers.
Yeah.
That get that salary.
Well,
and they're out there
what's
saving
even better.
lives.
Last year she made $87K.
Bro.
Like,
I'm sorry.
Even as an engineering major, I'm not going to be making that coming out of school. Like,
yeah.
And I'm going to end up in a pretty high paying job, but no.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and also just thinking about the fact, like, look at campus.
Yeah.
We are currently spending thousands of dollars to go to school. Most of us, have either a part-time job or no job that doesn't pay much. We're not earning a lot of money, yet we don't starve.
Oh my gosh, would you look at that?
Do you think we know how to manage our money?
Well, I have an accountant as a mother, so she's helped me out.
Yeah, that does help. That helps.
Love you, Mom.
Well, and like you said before, we figured out how to work and save money. And you've been over to my house. We live frugally over there.
Oh, yeah.
We get the cheap stuff from the thrift store. We don't spend, thousands of dollars on, fancy stuff.
We got the couponing. Major couponing.
Oh, yeah. We got a little
couponing.
Coupon bin on the fridge. Yep. Mm-hmm.
We love coupons, guys.
So, yeah. Why do you think it is that people feel so entitled?
No. I just think a lot of people... Stop.
Half of this podcast is just going to be you going, like, wheezing.
That's how I laugh.
No, I love it.
Okay. So...
Why do you think people feel so entitled to these programs?
I think it has a lot to do with how people grew up and how, like, I know a lot of people...
Why is this so funny?
Blooper reel. I think it has a lot to do with how people grew up and how, honestly, spoiled they were as a kid. Like,
No, that's fair.
I
think that's a really good point. Like, were you taught to work?
Yeah, right. Like, I was spoiled. I was a brat as a kid. My parents can attest to that. But I also learned very quickly that you don't get everything you want in life. Mm-hmm. Like, sorry, but you're not going to get that shiny new toy, or you're not going to get that new, like, the latest iPad or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you're going to get what you get. You don't throw a fit. And if you want something more, you have to work for it.
Wow. That was like a Dr. Seuss, Republican Dr. Seuss setup. Yeah, that was great. No, that is a really good point, though. I think, yeah, the way people are raised plays a big role into it. And we live in a society that's so instant gratification filled.
Yeah.
Like, I want it and I want it now. And if I don't get it now, I'm going to be really upset. Mm-hmm. And there's no idea of delayed gratification of working for things
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Are
a
they
mess.
like, even like, they're like, I'm the victim here.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, because I'm LGBTQI,
Right.
whatever. They're like, oh, I'm being attacked. I deserve to get this.
Right.
Like, this is the minimum I deserve. And it's like, first of all, most people don't care who you love.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, I know I don't care who you love. What I do care is about you bringing it into children
Mm-hmm.
and other things like that. But that's a whole nother topic.
Right.
But I think a lot of people feel like they're entitled to it because they feel like they're the victim, even though all of us are working just as hard to get our stuff, and you're like, oh, I deserve this because I'm gay. And it's like, okay,
Right.
like, good for you. You still have to work. Sorry.
No, and I think that victim mentality has become a way to get a leg up in society. And so it's become very harmful to people's work ethics and just the idea that you could work just as hard as someone else, but if they're a victim, somehow, they're perceived as better than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a messy situation for sure. And hopefully it's a culture, that we are actively changing. I like to believe we are.
Yeah,
We'll
I
see.
mean, I've definitely seen it from last year. Like, whew.
Yeah.
And I know you've seen it since freshman year, so
Right.
I'm
Absolutely.
hoping and praying.
Well, and I will say, even from freshman year, this campus has changed a lot in that regard. Like, the things I see on campus now are much better than what I saw my freshman year. I mean, I had a sense of culture shock seeing some of this stuff, So, yeah, I am very thankful to see somewhat of a culture change. I think people are just kind of done with all the nonsense.
Yeah. I mean, I know I have been.
Right, but I mean even people on the left.
Yeah. No, I definitely see it too. Like, I see a bunch of, influencers that were never really political, or they're even, they even identify with the LGBTQ community. And they're like, no, you guys are acting stupid. Like, get your heads on, right? Like, I know one, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to get demonetized. But there's one influencer that I listen to regularly on his podcast, and he is gay, but he's also, he's like, that's ridiculous. I don't associate with that. He's like, don't, associate me with the LGBTQ. Like, yes, I'm gay, but I don't, I'm not doing all this crap. Like, you guys are being nuts.
Right, yeah.
So,
no, absolutely.
Side rant right there.
Yeah, no, I think you're totally right. Okay, I have one more question to wrap this all up.
Okay.
It's a really big question, though. Are you ready?
I love it.
Should the government be funding SNAP at all? Should it be a state-funded program? Should it be a church initiative? Like, where should this resource come from?
I think that there should be something for people who truly need it. So people who are homeless, people who literally cannot get a job because they are disabled, or they do not have, I mean, even if you don't have a high education, you can go work at McDonald's for, that'll still be some sort of income. But I truly think that there should be something, but it can't be for 42 million people. Like, it should be for the people who truly need it and not the people who don't want to get a job.
Right. Yeah.
So that's my take on that.
Where do you think maybe some of those people who they can get a job but they're just struggling, where do you see them getting, some of the things they need from? Or do you think, suck it up, figure it out?
There's resources. Like, we have our campus pantry, and it has all these, it has non-perishables, perishables.
Right.
It even has, feminine products and...
Right, yeah.
I think even toilet paper, I think I saw in there. But then there's also plenty of churches. I know a lot of churches, especially around the holidays when it gets cold, they do these drives where it's they either get coats or food or all these other things that they donate to homeless shelters or women's shelters, or literally any place that is a nonprofit that is doing good for the community. So there's so many things. Like, you just have to know, like, where to find these things.
Yeah.
And you're more than likely going to find it very easily, quickly. Like, it's not like they're hiding from you.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
you just have to, like, ask the right people. Like, oh, where do I go to get this? Or, like, oh, do you know of, like, some place that's serving hot food tonight? Or something like that. So.
Yeah. No, and I think, you know, a big point, you know, that I like to bring up with this issue is I'm a big proponent for the church taking this over.
Yeah.
And this being a church initiative. And the reason I think that would work so much better is, A, the government can't do anything efficiently, and I don't trust the government, and I could go on and on about just how bad the government is. But with the church, there's a sense of accountability, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you continue to come to a food pantry, you're going to have a conversation with the pastor, who's ever, you know, working there.
Yeah.
And they're going to want to figure out what's going on in your life. Why are you in this situation? Hey, you know, there's this job opening, and I think you should apply. And they're going to help you actually get on your feet and live a better life, you know. Or if you're struggling with addiction, they're a resource that they have so many resources to help people struggling with addiction.
Yeah.
And I think that's a major reason why we see such a homelessness issue.
Sorry.
I think that's such a major, you know, reason why we see such a homelessness issue is this, you know, addiction epidemic.
Yeah.
And, you know, and they don't want to be off the streets because it's easier for them to live on the streets, get their free benefits, and do drugs.
Yep.
And so if we have a sense of accountability for those people where, no, you don't get free stuff just because, but you can go to that church down there and they'll set you up with a program to get better and free food.
Like, they are willing to help you get back up on your feet.
Right. Absolutely.
And become the better part of society.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts?
I actually want to do this one question that I see on
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
Should drug testing be required to receive SNAP benefits? Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes.
Ties back into what we were just saying. Yeah.
Like, I feel like if you're, especially because people are literally admitting to buying drugs from their SNAP benefits, no. No.
Yeah.
Like, if you are a drug addict or an addict of any way, you have to prove, I would say you have to prove that you are getting better or willing to get better before you can get these government benefits.
I totally agree. Yeah, I think if you have money for drugs, you have money for food.
Amen.
You know? And like you said, I think there should be some leeway for somebody who's a recovering addict. Like, yes, there's going to be slip-ups and like, but also that can be an incentive to keep you from going back to these things, you know? Like, I don't get food if I mess up, you know?
Yeah.
And I think there are incentives there. And once again, it brings back in, go to church.
Amen.
That's my final thought. Go to church.
Hear the word of the Lord.
Amen.
Find God.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to Right on Campus. We post this podcast bi-weekly, tackling current events and life as a conservative on campus. If you'd like to learn more about UWEC College Republicans, join our meetings on Monday nights in Centennial 1704 at 7 p.m. Have a great night.
Thank you for listening to Right on Campus. We post this podcast once a week where we talk about current events and life as a conservative on campus. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at UWEC College Republicans. Have a great night and see you next time.